teacher who is unable to keep himself away from a young, beautiful student. The story begins with a girl named Cairo whose parents lived in another country. Cairo lives alone in a deserted town where writing became her hobby. Passing through the jungles, Cairo reached a class where she met Jonathan, a middle-aged man who could not become a successful writer and became a teacher. When Cairo comes to the class, Jonathan asks her to read some books given in the syllabus. But Cairo has read all those books. He had already read it when another girl named Vinaya went there, who besides being a student of this class, is also a good friend of Cairo. Both of them went out to eat something. Jonathan saw an adult book in Cairo's belongings. One of Jonathan's friends comes there with its copy in a sack. He starts reading that booklet from Jonathan. Boris and Jonathan both are shocked to see a copy of a book written by Jonathan with Cairo. That night, Jonathan's wife is also busy in her work, so to get her attention towards himself, Jonathan tells her that today in the class, a student is reading my book. She was reading a book when Bia got called for some work, but after the call, Bia and Jonathan drink together. As they both started getting closer, Bia got called again, and the night remained like that. The next day, she tells everything to the man, and the man started making fun of her. Then both of them see cowards coming from the jungle, unsatisfied from the back way. Jonathan was watching him very carefully. He asked the cowards, "That are you not scared of the jungles?" Then the answer of the cowards was, "That I am the scariest thing in those jungles." Jonathan started laughing at this son. Inside, Vinay drops his books on the floor, and he knew that she did it intentionally, so he asks Vinny, "Tell me, what do you want?" Vinay was teasing her intentionally. Chiron also noticed this, and she told him that you are completely crazy. Later, both of them went to Chiron's house. Here, Chiron was worried about a question of her college admission, in which she had to tell about the biggest achievement of her life. They both discussed a lot of things, but nothing was unique. Then Vinay said that you should have an affair with your teacher, and then write something about it. Chiron said that Jonathan is 20 years older than me, but Vinay kept persuading her, saying that all this is normal now. And Jonathan is also a good gentleman, perfect for the first time of cowards. Vineet started talking about Jonathan in front of cowards, how he looks at cowards in the class. All this made Sun Sharma interested in Jonathan. But the next day, cowards started staring at Jonathan. Jonathan comes to her. He tells her to meet him after the class. After the class, Jonathan invites the bodies for dinner. Boris went from here taking a down step. After his departure, Jonathan started trying that step, and then Cairo comes there. Both of them laughed and avoided the topic. Jonathan was so impressed with a paragraph written by Cairo that he remembers the whole of it from worst to worst. Cairo also became happy to see that he paid attention to one of his paragraphs. Jonathan wanted that Cairo should write a story in one of her favorite North style. If she does so, then Jonathan will give her full marks in the midterm. Cairo immediately agreed and told Jonathan that I have also read your book. Like Jonathan, Cowards also had many lines from worst to worst in his book. Jonathan was impressed to see this. He calls the Cowards to a place this weekend, where they will definitely discuss about his assignment. At night, Boris and his wife went to dinner. Bia came to take their order. Bia asked Jonathan if this was the same girl he was talking about. Jonathan said no, she is Cairo, but it was clearly visible here that he was jealous of the other woman's interest in Cairo. To vent his anger, Jonatar's base started coming out that you no longer have that right attitude. You haven't written anything for the past several years. You are just an ordinary teacher. On the weekends, Jonathan went to a place mentioned by Jonathan. He sat close to him from the back. Here a man started reciting a poem. Jonathan was listening to the poem very attentively, and Cairo was looking at Jonathan. After the poem, Cairo came out and lit a cigarette. Jonathan also started sharing the cigarette with him. The next day, Cairo comes in front of Jonathan wearing clothes in a hurry. When Boris asked about this, Cairo said nothing. When Boris left from there, Cairo started talking in bed with Jonathan. The cravings of both were increasing. While going towards the class, Jonathan got a message from his wife regarding going out somewhere. Inside the class, Cairo tells Jonathan about her favorite author in whose style she will write a story. Jonathan was in a hurry to go home, so he quickly agreed. After she left, Vinay climbs on Jonathan's table and starts teasing Cairo. Just then, Jonathan meets a man there. Vinny starts teasing the man. She hides his phone in her clothes, but Cairo is not able to find his phone. On the other hand, Jonathan's wife, the plan to go with her got cancelled because she was also busy in her work. Then Jonathan got a call from Cowards. Actually, Jonathan had accidentally brought Coward's phone in his bag. Jonathan and his wife's plan had been cancelled anyway. So Jonathan went out to give Cowards his phone. When he reached outside Coward's house, it started raining, and Cowards came towards Jonathan. Wearing a thin dress, both of them started looking at each other. Both of them kissed. After this, Jonathan came back to his home. Here Cowards sent him a mail to Jonathan's wife. She tells him that I am not able to do my work while you are here. So Jonathan went from there to a small cabin. Here Jonathan printed the story sent by the cars and started reading it. It was an adult story in which Jonathan and a student and a teacher were talked about. Jonathan got excited about this subject and opened his pen, but the next day everything changes. Jonathan does not call Cowards in the class like he used to. The Cowards asked what happened. Then Jonathan says that he did not like his story at all. There are too many wrong things in it. When the Cowards said that it was their turn, Jonathan clearly said that there was nothing like that on our beach. We are just a teacher and a student and nothing else. The sun completely broke the hearts of the Cowards, and they said with their hands that either write all this again or I will fail you in the midterm. Cowards, all these people became angry and upset. She says that my story is absolutely perfect. You are just afraid that I have written what you could not write. Many people call Jonathan an ordinary writer to humiliate him and say that if you have guts, then prove it by failing me. Cowards go home crying. She starts drinking with Winnie. On the other hand, tension was clearly visible on Jonathan's face too. When Jonathan's wife asks him what happened, Jonathan tells her about the story written by Cowards. She also got excited after hearing the line of the story, but as soon as they both could do something, it is said that Jonathan remained like this again. On the other side, Chiron and Believe were talking. Chiron tells Kat that Jonathan was just pretending to be close to her, to divert her attention. Cairo tells Kat to message the boys. Kat started teasing the boys, but her words, nothing is working on Boris, to draw Boris's attention towards her. Cairo made a decision. Both of them took off their clothes. Both of them sent their photos to Boris. As soon as Boris saw this, he left Jonathan's house. Just then, Jonathan's wife gets a call from Jonathan's school. They had already found out about Cairo. His wife is shocked to know that why all this is happening because of a story written by a student. She asks Jonathan whether anything else happened between him and that girl. Jonathan clearly denies it. That day, Cairo does not come to class. She was in the vice principal's office. The vice principal asked both Kai and Jonathan what was going on. Kai told everything clearly, that Jonathan gave me the mid-time assignment in advance, and we also smoked cigarettes together. We kept meeting outside the school as well, but when Jonathan's turn came, he was hesitant to answer the questions. Seeing this hesitation, the vice principal understood everything and fired Jonathan from the job. Outside the office, Boris explains to Jonathan that you have to watch your limits. You wanted it, and now, because of crossing the limit, you are in such a condition. Boris left from there and went home. When Jonathan told that he has been fired from his job, his wife started suspecting him and again asked him if something happened between you two. But Jonathan again denies it. Seeing all this, his wife was not ready to believe it now. She asks him if you have feelings for that girl in your heart. Jonathan doesn't say anything on this. They both started fighting. They started counting each other's flaws. The fight escalated to such an extent that Jonathan's wife told him, decided to give divorce. No one else will come to her side either. Well, she gets it. She said that because of what you did, Jonathan might even lose his job. But now cowards don't care about this. She says that Jonathan underestimated me, but now he will know what I really am? Cairo called all these things as his greater achievement. In the end, Cairo says that now Jonathan neither has a job nor a wife. Will he finally be able to write? Friends, this movie Minute Girl ended here. Do tell us how you liked its explanation by commenting. Also, to see more such videos, do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.